Welcome back to CX in the Wild Season 4.
All right, let's start with who you are and what you do.
Sure. My name is Rebecca Jones. I'm the general manager of Mosaicx. I've been with the West Technology Group for about 2.5 years, and about a year in was really excited to be promoted into GM and have the opportunity to work with some great people like Brian here. So just really excited to be here at CCW Week, and we're rolling out a lot of new products and just there lots of high energy. I'm really excited to be here.
I can't wait to hear about these new things.
Yeah.
Brian, did I see you at the New York Reuters show? And did you give a speech that time?
I was on a panel. That's right. Yeah, I was on a panel with Trisha Price and some folks. Yes.
It's all coming back to me now because that had some really good, interesting stuff in it. All right. Thank you for giving me a minute to bring it all back together. All right. So let's talk about, it's called Mosaicx.
Called Mosaicx.
Because I always wonder how to say that.
That's it.
All right. What's the new?
The new. So this week we're talking about Mosaicx Agent. So great partnership with all those wonderful salespeople in the out world who understand customer experience and bringing them together to help solve big customer experience solutions. We're talking about Mosaicx Advisor. So Mosaicx Advisor is a CX optimization consulting service. And it really gets to the core of the people that work in the organization. We've got folks who've been with us for 20-some years doing voice, IVA, IVR, and really understand that intersection of brand experience and customer experience. And this advising service allows us to, remove all the technical conversations about generative AI and all the tool set and really get to the core of how you want your customers to experience your brand and what's the right points in that customer journey to bring different technologies in, and how do you do it in a way that is going to really allow you to realize the business objectives that you have. Are those more conservative and focused on customer engagment or CSAT, or are they more focused on cost optimization and things like that?
I love that. So let's take 5 steps back. I think we hit every buzzword.
I pushed all of them.
Other there.
I didn't even get to the third one.
Let's back this up. So Mosaicx. What is the company in a nutshell? What does it do?
Sure. So Mosaicx is a cloud-based conversational AI solution. We, really provide automated interactions. We leverage AI, ML, natural language processing. Yes.
It's a cloud-based solution. And so you're listening to conversations.
Yep.
You're interpreting those by a number of different methodologies.
Understanding the intent of the caller.
Sure.
And making sure that we get them to the right person in the right time, or automating that interaction based on our customers' objectives.
And why is that important to the world?
I think there's an interesting dynamic of generational changes, right? You've got certain generations who are really more interested in a voice conversation, and we need that human dynamic in the conversational AI space. And then we also need to know when to forward that caller on to a human so that they can really get the higher level engagement that you really expect and deserve. And then on the flip side of that, I think we have generations, typically younger generations, who really want to engage in more of a digital platform and making sure that we offer solutions that allow for that engagement, whether it's texting or it's chatbot, that it feels more natural to that generation. And so when you have solutions like a conversational IVA, IVR, that really is a very horizontal product set, and it can serve many different industries and also generations inside of those industries. And I think we have to be able to allow flexibility of choice in those spaces so that we know when to turn the dial more conservative or more cost containment.
Gotcha. It makes a lot of sense. I feel like over the years we've seen a lot of entrants into this space. But you're adapting to go to the next place, and you've got some ideas, probably that insights that you've learned over the last few years that you're making some new evolutions. What are those?
Yeah, absolutely. I appreciate you asking. generative AI is a hot topic. Everyone's talking about that. And one of the things that we're trying to understand is, our cloud-based partner is Google, and they've taken a fairly conservative approach to generative AI. And what we're trying to do is weave that together and make sure that we're not just plugging into the APIs and kind of throwing it out in the wild. We really want to take a nuanced step there. And so even our solution set that we're launching later this week is Mosaicx Expert. And that's, it's an offering where we've provided some obfuscation layer over top of those generative AI offerings that are coming from Google in a way that protects your brand experience. So really make sure that all the hallucinations, all the scary stuff that we're hearing about in the media, we're protecting the customer away from that. So we've got this layer over top of it that allows you to only engage with your customers based on the information that you provided, and then will not sort of go outside of the bounds of where you have it. And it's a really exciting time for us to think about all of the different nuances there.
Sure. The amazingness of change that AI, ChatGPT, because it was around before then, but suddenly it became like a thing.
On the scene.
Yeah.
On the scene.
And so you're taking advantage of that. Let's talk about you for a while. How long have you been in the business?
Sure. Depends on the business you're talking about. I have been in and around customer experience, customer service for, I hate to date myself, right? Well over 25, 30 years. I grew up in contact centers, learning my way.
Were you ever an agent?
I was definitely an agent. Spent time on the floor. And so, you understand that every interaction there is a difficult interaction, and no one picks up the phone and calls you for something fun, right? We were just talking about that. And I think that gives me, a bit of an appreciation for the foundation that these business leaders that we serve are supporting, right? They really understand how difficult a job that is, conversely to the service that you're trying to provide to your customers. So anyway, I've spent 25 years in around that service. The last 10 years I spent at a company doing technology for government-facing companies, running operations, technology, data science. Had the pleasure to come and work here over the last 2 years and really dip my toe into more of the AI space, and that's been really exciting.
So is it safe to say, because you were on the front lines and you rose up through the ranks, you have a better sensitivity towards how technology can empower the agents?
I think that's fair to say. It's a really difficult job. And I think when we can take advantage of the data that comes through all of these services in a way that makes the agent's job easier, and not necessarily for the purpose of removing them. I know there's a lot of fear tactics that are tossed around right now in this space. Gen AI will, eliminate all of these people's jobs. I don't really believe that. I think at the end of the day that customers, humans, will always want to engage other humans. And in fact, we find that more so than really the talking points. I know Brian talks all the time about 70% of our customers are still interested in voice flow. And I think that's absolutely true. But what we need to do is understanding the propensity of burnout in that space is to make their job easier. They're emoting constantly. You have an engagement with a caller who is angry, frustrated, needs help. It's draining. It's draining on a contact center person. And so to find a way to enable their job and make it easier is really powerful stuff. And I think lots of companies are thinking about how you leverage these conversational AI, Gen AI solutions for their customers. But when you bring it in-house and you make the job of the agent easier to flow so that they can just really focus on the service delivery, it's a very powerful tool to enhance the full spectrum of service. And, we all know through statistics that the higher our employees' engagement score, so the happier our employees are, the higher our customer engagement scores are, and subsequently, we've got higher revenues. And so I think when we come back to that space of understanding how our teams are living and breathing and working every day, and really get back into customer experience, employee experience, that's when we make the most bang for our buck.
So many people now I love that the AI fear conversation has sparked a whole new renaissance of, wait, people are important. Humans are important.
Yeah.
The humans will use the machines as tools, not the way around.
That's right.
And I like that. Tell me about your market. What size businesses do you service?
Mostly enterprise level clients with 100,000 or more calls. You're gonna have to help me, Ryan.
Yeah, it's enterprise level calls. It's lots of brands taking lots of interactions, inbounds, making outbound calls. We have started to be able to, because the technology's gotten so better, we've been able to move kind of to a mid-market range, but the majority of our customers are enterprise level customers looking to replace their IVRs with virtual agents, looking to make outbound calls, deflect calls, but using AI to make that outbound experience more interactive than just transactional. That's what
We found the most, I think, trajectory in sort of the travel industry, retail. We've got banking and healthcare who are, fast adopting and trying to understand how best to leverage the technology spaces, utilities, things like that. Have been sort of our sweet spot from an industry standpoint. And I just think it's been an interesting space altogether to understand how do you serve all those different masters in a way where they have choice, but you still have the ability, we still have the ability to scale as a company. It's been an interesting challenge for us to solve over time.
Who do you, Becky or Rebecca, do you prefer?
So I'll share a little funny thing with you. I go by Rebecca in formal settings until we get to know each other and we're friends, and then call me Becky. And I use it as a filter. So if someone calls me or sends me an email and they start it with Becky, I know we've met and we're friends. And if they call and they ask for Rebecca, I know maybe they don't know me very well.
Smart,
so Becky,
because your assistant sent Becky, and I was like, I think her name's Rebecca. I was searching my email.
That's it.
I'll stay with Rebecca until at least.
Oh, you're fine. How about this? Now we're friends. Call me Becky.
Becky, what have you been paying attention to in the entire industry outside of your job? But in this professional realm, what have you been paying attention to? Don't say AI.
Yeah, it's really the human aspect. One of the great things about walking this floor has just been to see how all of these companies are serving people and humans, and really trying to understand the generational differences, the industry differences, the use cases, and they're so diverse. And so I really do think when you're talking about customer experience, it's really about the human factor and what are the expectations of those humans, and they're so varied. So for me, it's a little bit of psychology and a little bit of just human interaction. And so that's really what I read a lot about in tech, and really trying to stay on the cutting edge of all of the different technologies that are coming, and thinking about as a company, how can we leverage those in a way that positions us appropriately in the market as a key player.
That's nice that you're thinking about the humans. Speaking of humans, what's the smartest thing that you've seen a human do in our industry recently?
Oh,
Could be at your business or other businesses.
wow, that's a tough one.
I should have prepared you for that
You
question.
should have prepared me for that one. I don't
While
know.
your mind
That
thinks
was a
about
tough
that.
one.
You know what I'm reaching for there?
Sure, let's hear it.
This is casual. But we've talked so much about all the buzzwords, AI, but I think the reason I like to talk to people is to actually get to know what you're thinking truly. So, I just think that maybe there's been something impressive that you've seen or you've heard that you're like, hey, I might want to adopt that. I'll tell you one, and then as an example.
Sure, and I'll share the one I have on my top of my head.
So, smartest thing that I've seen done in a corporation recently was company was trying to foster a customer-centric culture within the organization to create change, but also move CX forward. And they wanted to get buy-in across the organization. So they did videos, interviews of their customers. Nothing surprising.
Yeah.
But then they put QR codes all over their corporate offices. So when anybody took a picture, the customer spoke to them.
That's fantastic. That's fantastic. I like that.
So that's something that I think about. I'm like, people should do stuff like this.
So, gosh, I have now I have a bunch of examples.
Okay, give them to us.
All right. So first cool thing that I've seen is really bringing the voice of client or the voice of customer back in. So, what I've seen is having a customer come and join your all hands, join your team and talk about their story. So, it's so easy day to day to lose sight of, how you're actually serving the customer, particularly in a technology company or when, the vast majority of your team are technologists and they're coding or they're working on implementation or, they're not in front of the customer. It's easy to lose sight of the dots that connect what you do every day back to the customers that you serve. And so bringing that customer in on all the different spectrums so that you kind of see all the different slices of life brings it back to purpose for people. And secondly, I've seen a customer who, really took a hard look at all of the data that they had flowing through their various IVA, IVR services, and then realized that they were sitting on such a valuable insight that they were able to obfuscate that data because it was essentially like consumer behavior data and sell that back to different industries, marketing industries, insurance for this particular customer. And just really created a whole second revenue opportunity from the data that they were sitting on based on the interactions of their client base. So it's really smart way to just grow revenue with not a lot of additional, overhead and or product development. It's really interesting.
Awesome points. As we go into the home stretch, any advice you give to other executives in the industry, lessons learned from you, preparation for the next year ahead, words of wisdom?
Sure. I think it's just be thoughtful. Be kind, understand the space that you're in. Remember that there's a lot of buzzwords, a lot of fear, a lot of fear tactics. And, I just think be a human, be sincere, stand out, listen to your customers before you, try to sell them, understand who they are as a person, what problems they're trying to solve. And if you can help support that, then that's great. If it's someone else or a competitor, then, point them in that direction. I think when we can all come together for the right purpose and understand each other and how we can help each other, I think that resonates with people and, really helps to grow your business from a point of service.
Awesome. Thank you for being on CX in the Wild.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks for having me, Dennis.
Thanks for listening to CX in the Wild. We hope to see you the next episode.